Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, another wondrous Propagandacast for me, a host, Imperial Dane. A wonder versus one for you on a Pripyat. Yes, indeed, Pripyat. Shall be some interesting stuff going on here. We shall be watching Fanity fighting for the Germans, fighting for the Schwerer Panzerregiment Baker, going up here against Apfelsaft of the Soviet Union of the 30th Tank Corps. Infantry Company Schnell going up there. Grenadiers quickly following up in response to that, and a bit of infantry are arriving for Apfelsaft. I mean, so far nothing really deeply out of the ordinary. Looking at doctrines, we're seeing Spearhead Doctrine and Jaeger Armor, joint operations for Apfelsaft. We are seeing terror tactics, guard rifle combined arm tactics, and guard motor coordination tactics. So a bit of this and that there available for this gentleman. Back to Fanity though, back to Fanity. Though not pro-Fanity. If you want that, I'm sure there are other YouTube channels for you to watch. Second Grenadier Squad on the way here for Fanity. So far it looks like he's going out for a more spread out approach in terms of grabbing map control. Second squad of Grenadiers arriving in der Name des Vaterlandes. Another squad of conscripts popping up there. Points being secured there. Looks like we're seeing a northern-southern approach. Interesting enough, no movement towards the centre here from Fanity and the Schwerer Panzerregiment Baker. A unit put together of a large amount of heavy armour on the eastern front. More specifically, it at one stage I believe had half amount the heavy armour of the entire eastern front. That is several bits of Tiger tanks and even a lot of Panthers. Under the command of Dr. Franz Baker, I believe, of which the regiment was named.
A new unit has arrived.
So a little fun fact there. Going straight for the victory points here. Also spread out approach, but the southern prong is less well guarded. Of course, that's where, in fact, most of the force is being deployed straight on from Fanity. In fact, he's going for 3 Grenadiers. That's pretty novel, or at least considerably less usual. And pushing all of them towards the southwest. The Pioneers in the north seem to be more of a diversion almost. Come up again against the conscript MP40s. And a bit of a surprise there from the conscripts. Heinz being so surprised he burst into flames. And the combat engineers suffering rather heavily in the south as the Grenadiers make a successful advance. Little to stop them, although we do see a quick response here going in from Apfelsaft. The Saft des Apfels. Although a slightly more measured approach, is not just rushing in.
Don't let us freeze here.
Fanity needs to be careful to spread those Grenadiers out too far. They work a bit better here now in conjunction with each other. Grenadiers moving up, up and away. Another squad of a conscript which ready to hit the flank. 2 conscript squads, well, 2 Grenadier squads to 1 conscript squad. Molotovs almost ready, but still Apfelsaft is feeling a bit apprehensive. Troops hanging about here. Another squad of conscripts arriving. Fuel point in the north secured. Southern one secured by the Germans in response. LMGs are available, it's nothing of that. So fun fact, we're noting here that he's already teched up. Fanity has moved on to the next level of the Reich's technology measures. Achtung! Or the next battle phase, whatever you'd call that. Quickly focusing down one squad of conscripts out in the open, trying to go for the vital fuel of the Reich. And the conscripts certainly pay the price for it. And it is swiftly moving in to contest. Another conscript squad moving in, taking the cover up. The Grenadiers forced out due to the Molotov. But it's already a bit too late here. Overwhelming numbers, although Fritz does get caught and is burst into flames as well. And like the mechanized company up for Fanity. What shall happen next? What shall happen next? I like the Panzerspielwagen. One of many reconnaissance vehicles used by the Reich. although not necessarily the one they preferred, and ultimately worked towards replacing with something a bit better off the road, since that was pretty much the only place it really excelled at. Once it got off the roads, it became a lot less useful. You know, Heinz, I know it's called an armored car, but perhaps it might also be great if, you know, unlike a car, it also worked off the roads. Yeah, I know. But then we'd actually have to do some work. But we've only got stuff for it. Shut up. Heinz, you're always such a troublemaker. With you and your fancy ideas of tracks and half-tracks. Conscious going up, you see at the flank of the Grenadiers. Grenadiers got pushed away. And there we go. Also upgrading them pretty quickly on. I mean, overall it is an upgrade, but again, in terms of infantry, it's less an upgrade than, say, against lighter vehicles and such. Still, it's there now. The Autokanone. 20mm of high explosive death. Certainly not the sort of stuff you want to get hit by, and certainly if the shots actually hit, I mean, it's going to be pretty much good night. Ivan, it was nice knowing your body parts. Second scout car following up. 4 Grenadier squads now, by the way. 4 Grenadier squads. And a light machine gun. I like the Maschinengewehr. Fighting over here the center. And the fight is ultimately won. And I think Apfelsaft here is going a bit bold. Looks like, yes, an anti-tank grenade, but needs to get the conscripts out there before they're lost. And a bold move, but ultimately ended up with a squad of dead conscripts, which ultimately I really wouldn't say is worth a scout car, even if it's upgraded. Although I'm sure Fanity disagrees. And another conscript squad, all of a sudden, Apfelsaft might have extended himself a bit too far. In response, he was punished by the will of the fatherland. Still, Apfelsaft does hold a nice chunk of the territory, but needs to be careful. I mean, he's easily going to end up losing any advantage he has if he keeps up these rates of losses. And a 5th squad of Grenadiers. This is quite incredible, but also considerable weakness that Fanity setting up. If, and I say if, Apfelsaft was to say rush for some sort of armor vehicles right now, it could catch Fanity at quite a disadvantage, because his force would be very vulnerable to it. Very vulnerable to it. So that is something that has to be kept in mind. And should not be underestimated. And looks like Apfelsaft might end up having to write another squad on the list of those lost. Of equipment belonging to the Soviet state, which can no longer be used by others. But Grenadier squad burst into flames. Fanity wasn't quite paying attention. A small victory for Apfelsaft, though certainly small considering the losses he suffered. Though I'm sure the Pravda will tell you otherwise. This was great victory for the Soviet peoples. Never mind the losses, there were none. But we lost 3 squads. Shut up, Boris. Or do you want to go to Gulag? No, 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 we won. Great victory, great victory. Please don't hurt me. Plenty of resources here. Come on, Fanity. Don't show such vanity. Oh, ha, ha. Oh, oh. Oh, the wit. Special Rifle Command going up there for Apfelsaft. And a heavy mortar. We also know here mines by the looks of it. No, a fire pit. Actually, he would benefit from mines. I mean, considering all the territory at one stage took, there's not been a single mine, not something, you know, might, you know, punish someone for bringing about all this infantry, or say scout cars in such a small and exposed manner without any clearly established front line, you know. Just a suggestion, because a single mine could, you know, very well knock out one of these scout cars. So again, just a thought. But Tankovi Battalion Command taking up going on here for Fanity, whereas tanks are likely going to be coming out soon for Apfelsaft. But we are seeing that Apfelsaft is slowly but surely being pushed back all across the front. The Reich is on the move. In particular after wiping out 3 full squads of Soviet conscripts. Time to have a look at Apfelsaft. We are noting here Jaeger armor doctrine up for Fanity. And again, note, he's barely got anything left. I mean, he's still in the fight, but this rather ought to clarify to which an extent already Fanity has delivered some crucial, nasty blows. And again, I think in several cases, Apfelsaft probably could avoid them, but he got a bit, too greedy. But there we go. Tankery Battalion Command, and already there, of course, the T-3476 is available, and is in fact on the way.
What are your orders? It's cold out here. Yes, comrade.
Sadly, no mines at all. Again, I do feel that's a great miss out here, in particular considering all the munitions you have at the moment. Could have really been utilised in slowing down the fascist advance, causing them some great casualties.
The lizard is gone. Need engineers?
And combat is caught here between the 2 scout cars. An awful lot of firepower. At the same time, the T-34 arrives on the battlefield. Combat engineers, though, were tragically wiped out. Caught in a rather unpleasant crossfire. Conscripts might be the next one. Come on, Apfelsaft. Komm nach schon. T-34 swiftly rolling ahead. And Grenadiers finding themselves under the intense scrutiny of the T-34's crew. More specifically, their gunner. Guards infantry squads arriving. Looks like Apfelsaft going to somehow rectify this through some more elite infantry. Scout cars rushing back, or at least one of them is. The other ones less rushing, more limping. Grenadiers, you need to be careful, Vorsicht, Vorsicht! And a bit of air reconnaissance going on there. Fanity trying to get an idea of Apfelsaft's positions, of his strength. And so on. And there we go, light machine guns being upgraded for Apfelsaft Guards, rifle infantry. Another squad of grenadiers upgraded with the LMG-42. Oh! Blimey!
You have orders?
And of course, it's the power of the heavy mortar. And again, that's in fact the power of a lot of Soviet weapons. They can very quickly take out an entire squad of grenadiers. And of course, the thing is, a lot of these weapons, pretty much also ignore any of the veterancy benefits. So, nice little job there. Again, highlights why Soviet weapons are dangerous like they are.
Anti-tank rifle ready.
And certainly also one of the primary weaknesses of the German army, which is largely relying on the 4-man scheme. Again, they're so vulnerable to any sort of AoE, even tanks. You can easily end up with half a squad gone, or in this case, an entire squad gone in the blink of an eye. Soviet squads are considerably less likely to suffer from that, due to the larger squad numbers, of course.
Fresh conscripts have arrived.
And also the fact that there's not really any sort of German weapons that really have that large AoE. I mean, not the Tiger. I mean, the only weapon that really has a large AoE is pretty much the Sturmpanzer 4. The Sturmpanzer 4, that is. Scout cars ready to move out again. Losing ground. No combat engineers. I really would like to see some from Apfelsaft to begin mining. Perhaps also single munitions cache. Would be good.
The enemy has 300 points remaining.
Pioneers advancing up, straight versus the Guards infantry. T-34 quickly rushes in. Minor engagement up north. Grenadiers quickly push away any opposition. Pioneers not really doing too well here against the Guards and T-34. In the meanwhile, in the south, conscripts in a lot of trouble. And already one of the scout cars is Veteran T2. Bad news. And there we go, nice maneuver. Apfelsaft going to hit them in the rear. It's going to cut off their retreat path. Jolly good job there. Good thinking on Apfelsaft's behalf. And that is what we like to see, comrade. In this case, the conscripts clearly served as a bait as well to give the T-34 time to arrive. Lots of fun going on here. First scout car, the one Veteran T2 taking up most of the fire so far. Other one realizes it's time to escape, though it's already a bit too late. And there we go, second scout car gone as well. Their reign of terror has been ended, although it was nice and long.
Your orders, comrade.
At least if you're the German player. Still would like to see a company in the squad ready to lay down some mines. I mean, this area would be really excellent for mining. This area as well, and of course, around here would also be great for mining. Nice hit there from the T-34. 2 Grenadiers dead on the spot. They stood no chance. And Panzerkampfwagen 5 arriving.
Are capturing our supplies. Caution. Blizzard.
Rolling ahead. And another T-34 arriving here for Apfelsaft in return. If he focuses down both of them on the Panther with marked vehicle, he probably has a chance of actually taking out the Panther. But on their own, I mean, the Panther's just going to win. And the T-34 probably wasn't expecting to encounter Panzerkampfwagen with the Panzer. Not really good. Of course, there is the blizzard, so there's a small chance of the T-34 actually escaping. In particular, now that an anti-tank grenade actually managed to damage the engine. So, minor victory there. And good job then, Apfelsaft in actually pulling it out of this rather dangerous situation. T-34 moving up. Shot fails to penetrate, but not from the Panther. Another anti-tank grenade connects with the rear Veteran T2 for the conscripts. They need to get out of it. And Guards infantry freezing to death, far away from all the fun. Panther unleashing a hailstorm of bullets. Oh! T-34 shot burst the flamethrower tank and actually roasted the rest of the squad. Well, damn bloody poor luck there for Fanity.
We are awaiting orders.
Quick to repair that Panzerkampfwagen 5 though.
Anti-tank rifle ready.
Now we're seeing more of a north and south split actually following the river. Bit more natural now. Of course, question is how long that lasts. And now we actually have a large problem for Fanity, which is he actually has got very, very, very little infantry left. Of course, he's probably going to do what he can, and that also means there's only really the Panther. Also, he can't really take any points. I mean, if the rest of the infantry gets wiped out, he can't, for example, really do much to defend the victory points. So there's definitely an opportunity here for Apfelsaft to really get back into the fight. Grenadier squad doing what they can, ultimately forcing the Guards to attack to retreat.
Combat engineers are standing by.
And there we go, finally some combat engineers, though I don't think, sadly, it's going to be about mines. Sadly, and I'm a bit disappointed in Apfelsaft for not laying down any mines. Again, this area really would be great. Again, this area, and again, this area. Panther quick to push in. Conscripts quick to run up with some anti-tank grenades, but they are suffering quite a bit out in the open due to the 3 machine guns of the Panther. And raw infantry certainly should be careful about tank machine guns out in the open. They can actually lose a few men to that. When you have not just the hull and the coaxial machine gun, but also the anti-aircraft machine gun on the top firing way. And yes, indeed, that little machine gun up there was actually really meant for shooting down aircraft or defending against, although of course, as it turned out, you could also point it down at the buggers running around on the ground as well. Marked target actually going in, but I think the timing is a bit off, since there was nothing really there to take advantage of it. Neither of the tanks are ready to really take advantage of it, so I do feel this is a bit of a mistake there from Apfelsaft. Back to Fanity, who's now gotten himself some Panzergrenadier up to the front line, leading the way with their Sturmgewehrs. Not without its issues though. Mortar rounds flying through there. Also having gotten himself a mortar. A Granatenwerfer.
Forces are securing our territory.
Are you going to see if we can't get the Soviet mortar? And again, be careful about rushing around against a tank with machine guns. Even a Panther in this situation is actually quite alright against infantry. And in that sense, they at least got, you know, tank machine guns right in that way. They were mostly for defense against infantry. And Apfelsaft really should have pushed his T-34 up like that. I mean, he'd usually been otherwise cautious, but right here, this was definitely a bit of a blunder, allowing the Panther an easy kill, and gaining Veterans 1, and thus the powerful Blitzkrieg tactics ability. Pioneers quick to run up and begin repairs. Another Guardian squad running about in the open, and also noting here, spotting scopes, increasing line of sight, allowing the Panther track to see quite a bit far away, as long as it doesn't move. Actually a nice sort of overwatch position. So a little fun fact there. Looks like a larger infantry push towards the north. South again, very much unguarded, and Fanity excellently taking opportunity of it by, you know, moving in some infantry to begin taking points away. And he shouldn't really be bad off. He actually laid down, say, an S-minefield right around here. A small one, that is. Another reconnaissance run. I mean, he's quite active with reconnaissance runs. Really nice move again. He's constantly keeping an eye on what his opponent is doing. I mean, that's really one of the, you know, powerful bit usage of this one, you know, keeping an eye on what the opponent's doing, where he's attacking, where he's defending, where he isn't. We are seeing a counter-response force going in here. Of course, he's going to be aware of it since he saw the T-34 mode down there. So, of course, he probably has some time. Then again, he might just bother not to run away and just try to take the point. Or risk it. And, of course, it also helps with your artillery, since, again, you then immediately provide some spotters for them. Oh, blimey! Pioneer squad took a direct hit. And good night. Getting a second Panther out. A Sturmpanzer IV really wouldn't be off the mark, or say a Panzerwerfer. Oh yes. Time for the mid-game analysis, and you know, some changes that are rather important, actually changes in resources. More specifically, Panther and Sturmpanzer IV have gotten cheaper in fuel, but more expensive in terms of manpower. I mean, now the Sturmpanzer IV actually costs quite a bundle in terms of manpower. Panther also. Which, of course, in some senses make them a bit hard to get, and also means you actually have to work better towards pursuing your units, so having to admit, you know, I can't reinforce anything, so it's a bit, you know, more of a tricky gamble. So, of course, that's something to keep in mind. Something the same has also happened with the IS-2 and the Tiger tank. They're now in the 700 manpower range. That's, again, quite the price. But just quickly wanted to point that one out. Current situation is a 40-60% map split. Advantage lies in the hands of Apfelsaft. On the other hand, he doesn't quite have the same, you know, raw force. He doesn't have two Panthers. He doesn't quite have the same amount of armor, which is a different problem. And he's also going for a mechanized armor company, which I think is a bit of a mistake, in particular considering the doctrinaires, which allowed him 2 T-34-85s. I think he should have instead relied on that. Not bother with the resource on a mechanized armor company and the S-35. I know we know he's going for, but he should instead try to aim for 2 T-34-85s, mark vehicle, and then that way, you know, overwhelm the Panthers one at a time. Because 2 T-34-85s with marked vehicle is actually quite potent against German armor. Sadly, that doesn't seem to be happening. Instead, he's going to be aiming for SU-85. So, of course, as more Panthers arrive, they're going to be less and useful, because the Panthers will be able to easily take them out. In particular, this one, Blitzkrieging, will be easily just able to flank it. So there's a bit of a problem there in wait for Apfelsaft, and I'm not entirely sure that's going to be a good job. Again, my preferred solution would be, again, don't bother with this, go for the T-3045s and go in hard. Otherwise, again, mines you need to mine, and certainly I would also recommend that, Fanity gets about a bit mining as well. But on the other hand, I think you should either aim for a Sturmpanzer IV to help deal with the remaining infantry, or a Panzerwerfer, and I think, Fanity, otherwise, if he just keeps pushing on, keeps preserving his Panthers, keeps a nice amount of infantry, he's going to win. It's going to be quite a lot more here from Apfelsaft to actually pull this through. And again, that's partly due to the heavy losses he suffered early on, which are certainly partly some to mistakes, but other things. And, he hasn't really done much, to take advantage of the advantage he had. Again, he had a lot of the map, but he never minded. He never made it difficult for his opponent to take it back. I think was one of the main mistakes there. And of course, engaging the Panther with one T-34 at a time, another mistake. But still, he might have a chance, but again, it rather depends on what he does from here on in. And certainly the opportunity winning a lot less. And if he is going to go for the HD5s, he needs to commit them in pairs at the very least. He should not commit them one at a time. Otherwise, he is going to lose. Now then, let's get back to the fighting. To the aggressive fighting. A bit of a nasty position here for the mortar, a bit out on the ice. Guards infantry on the retreat, encountering a Panzer Grenadier squad and a Grenadier squad. All the Panzer Grenadiers are in a pretty terrible condition, almost wiped out there. And now caught on the ice. There shall be no skating. Instead, there shall only be death. Of course, now with 2 Panthers out, things are getting a bit unpleasant for the soldiers of the Soviet Union. And there you go, mortar crew suffering fatal losses and ultimately forced to retreat. Grenadiers continue to do what they can. A swift grenade. Ultimately not achieving much. And there we go, Guards infantry force on the retreat. Panther doing what they can. And the last T-34 pulling back for repairs. No surprises there. And another reconnaissance run. Probably also getting an idea now, of course, what to expect. He's seen the mechanized armored company, so he's also likely going to be less worried about T-34 85s appearing. And again, I think that duo could prove to be more lethal. But oh well. That's just my opinion. But, of course, there's now appearing a problem here for Fanity. He's beginning to run out in infantry. And again, that's going to be his major worry, his primary issue. And something he definitely needs to be keeping a very close eye to, otherwise he could end up losing this fight, particularly as victory points are ticking down. Continued aggressive play towards the infantry might in fact be the way for Apfelsaft to win this fight. Since again, Panthers can't take points. Soviet tanks can actually take points as long as they gain some veterancy, but German tanks never can. Grenadier squad cut out in the open. Not good, not good. Panther coming around the far, blitzkrieging away from the H-85. And the T-34 spotted here. Caught between 2 Panthers. Things are not looking good. Not looking good at all. And another squad of Panzer Grenadiers. T-34 blown up. Like cheap fireworks. S-85 needs to be careful taking a hit from the Panthers. The Panther, of course, is almost the same range as the S-85. The reducing anti-tank grenade going off. The S-85 needs to get away. And of course, there's still the other Panther, which can blitzkrieg in. Veterans run for the S-85, but that's merely tracking. Doesn't help. So close, but ultimately no cigar. Instead, the Panther gets the kill and veterancy too. Panther in trouble, but ultimately pulls out of it.
Don't let us freeze.
And this Grenadier squad's about to freeze to death. Fanity, protect them. And no. That was a bit of a blunder there on Fanity's side. A bit of a blunder. In the meanwhile, Apfelsaft continuing up what he can in the meanwhile do, which is harassment. Which is always a nice idea, I suppose. And he overextended himself here, got a bit too confident, and we'll lose the veteran 2 conscripts. Damn shame, a damn shame. Points ticking down for Fanity, not really looking good. Panther rolling out of there. Panther being rather high on maintenance. Was also the second most produced tank right after the Panzer IV, although I mean we're talking about close to 10,000 Panzer IVs and about 6,000 to 7,000 Panthers actually built. And in fact by 1944-45 the Panther was actually the more common tank in the German army than the Panzer IV. So little fun fact there. Third Panther on the way. Guardsmen leading the way. I mean, they're using light machine guns, so you really don't want to run them up close. I mean, this is a bit of a poor idea. Light machine guns are not assault weapons like that. They're more for supporting assault, you know, standing still and firing. So a bit of a mistake there from Apfelsaft. Not really getting the most out of his light machine guns. In fact, he's getting the most out of his opponent's assault rifles, which is not really what you want to do. You don't want your opponent to get the most out of his weapons. You want to get the most out of your weapons. So that's a bit of a mistake there from Apfelsaft. Really only worked to the advantage of the Panzer Grenadiers. Now with a Soviet light machine gun, the DHK. Oh, not the DHK, but something else. Grenadiers holding the line. Guardsmen moving straight into the light machine gun fire again. Not really a good idea. No idea why you insist on doing that. Even with veterans, 2 Guards infantry, they are going to get punished. And it's really only to the advantage of the Grenadiers. You don't want to run close to a guy equipped with lots of machine guns like that. Another H-85 rolling up. Of course, the Soviets had several tank destroyers. This is one that was later replaced with the T-3045, since they pretty much take the same gun, I believe. But there were other ones. There was the H-100, although that was only 1945 with a 100mm gun. There was also the ISU-122, which had a bigger gun. Was also tanks, and of course the ISU-152 though, which was a heavy assault gun, so less, you know, specifically towards blowing up tanks. Otherwise, the Soviets also utilized the M10, as we see a bunch of them in the Lend-Lease agreement.
We must stiffen our resolve. We are down to 75 points.
Another reconnaissance flight. Fanny's certainly being rather consistent with them. Another Guards infantry squad rather looks like that. Mr. Apfelsaft trying to overcome problems here, and he actually could be very close to getting another H-85. Just needs the manpower, in which case he really just needs to go for it. Mark vehicle up, and already there Panther takes damage. I mean, again, Mark vehicle is a very, very powerful ability, but of course there's a slight problem here, which of course is there are simply too many Panthers. He failed to take them out. And now Fanity's rather reached critical mass, although again, he might lose up 1 Panther. He might. Guards infantry are moving in. Conscripts nearby, they might try and get off anti-tank grenades as well. Panther swiftly retreating, going to hunt down the Guards infantry. While the Guards infantry are desperately trying to take out that Panther with their anti-tank rifles, instead they're getting crushed by the Panther's mighty treads. There got another anti-tank grenade. That Panther could very well go down. Yes, there we go. Panzerkampfwagen 5 kaputt. Rode up. So minor victory right there for Apfelsaft against the forces of Fanity and the Schwerer Panzerregiment. But not really looking good for him.
are awaiting orders.
And certainly not on the way that he's handing over S-35's piecemeal to his opponent. With the Panthers possessing quite some speed, of course. And a decent amount of frontal armour. And of course good range as well.
Marking and targeting of vehicles is now available.
Again, had there been mines, the Panthers would have been less powerful. They've been robbed of their speed, which would then have been to the advantage of the S-35s. But again, Apfelsaft has been very much lacking in the mine department.
We are losing territory.
And there we go. 120mm mortar secured for the Reich.
Your predecessor died a hero. Nations, unite. You need light anti-tank support?
But right now, the options left for Apfelsaft are considerably limited. He's been consistently suffering a lot. Consistently losing a lot, and he's made a few tactical mistakes, and he's certainly not been doing his most to take advantage of things, which rather allowed Fanity to push back rather aggressively without suffering too much, and that ultimately also means that Fanity hasn't been punished a lot for losing ground. And again, that's one of the purposes of mines. They are to punish your opponent for losing ground, but again, hasn't happened.
Guard squad ready. Enemy forces are neutralizing.
And now Fanity continues to push onwards. No, with a lot of heavy armour to support him. So again, those things are vital to remember. Ever vital.
Contact!
And again, be careful with things like these.
Our points have fallen to 300.
There we go, Veteran 2 on the Panzer gun. It is with the Soviet light machine gun as well. Panzer is moving up, leading the way. And a quick geballte Lagnung. S-35 rolling up, but he does need to be careful. Guardsman leading the way. Not enough munitions, or at least not allowance there to use the marked vehicle. But there we go, S-35 up and away. Panther getting blasted a bit. And a Stuka incoming bombing strike. Almost wipes out the entire Guards infantry squad. S-35 now exposed. And of course there's the watch. No, wait a minute, that's Soviet controlled, so never mind. But there we go. Blitzkrieging Panther. Blitzkrieging Panther. Bad news for the S-85. Very bad news, pretty much robbed it of any chance of escaping. And again, remember, it moves and accelerates slower. And of course, turns slower. So there we go, game over. Of course, it was eventually 2 Panther, so not really much hope. And another Panther. I mean, in that sense, I mean, Fanity is a bit unimaginative. I'll certainly give him that. But ultimately, I mean, the thing is, I mean, he's not really seeing any sort of clever resistance. Again, the lack of mines is rather allowing him to play like this. But certainly a bit of an interesting strategy, not what we've seen a lot of lately. But of course, question is, this is actually an indicator that Panthers would be more seen, or is it just, you know, sort of more Fantasy just going for a lot of Panthers because you can? Because again, ultimately, they have become a lot more expensive, even with a slight fuel cost. I mean, they've still gone up by 160 manpower, and that's not exactly negligible. And Apfelsaft just getting another H-85. Seems a bit like an empty gesture from Apfelsaft. He must be realising that it's not really working out for him. That the H-85 simply aren't going to cut it. Yet he still persists, interestingly enough. He's also pretty much down to only his Guards infantry. My guess is that he's still trying for a victory point victory. Since Fanity's down to 40 victory points, I imagine that Apfelsaft thinks that he can get to them. He might still be able to pull the victory out of this. I mean, it's a small hope, but I suppose it's still there. In which case, you should be moving straight for the victory point. Ignore everything else. Come on, alter that one up there. Don't go for the watchtower. Don't go for the watchtower. Go for the other victory point. Davai, something. Get bloody moving. As if though Comrade Stalin is after you. Yes, that's it. And of course, infantry in cover immediately provides a larger problem for the Panthers. There we go. Buttoning up, HD5 moving in. Of course, Panthers moving in, but ultimately again, these are not the objective. Victory points are if Apfelsaft can hold on to the victory points, victory will be his. And again, that is the limit of the... They're alright against infantry in a prolonged fight, but they cannot quickly do a lot of damage against them. For that, you need Sturm Panzer Force or something else. Heavy mortar likely set up to cover the victory point. And of course, Panther's going to secure another kill. And the HD5 actually didn't go down far away from the first one. So few victory points left. So few left. Can Apfelsaft pull victory from the jaws of defeat? Stuka bombing strike hits nothing. Panzer securing the victory point. 5 points. 4 points. Oh, they weren't actually able to take it, interestingly enough. I thought they were. Huh. But there we go. The drain has been stopped. 2 victory points left. 2 victory points left. Can Fanity hold on to this? Can Fanity hold on? Or will victory ultimately be the 30th Tank Corps?
Fresh Guards troops are standing by.
Things are certainly a bit tight. Another squad of Guards infantry arriving. We can pretty much all guess what Fanity is going to go for. Panthers are pulling away in the face of such noxious resistance from the Guards. But can they actually take it back? Can they hold him? We're actually now seeing that Fanity is realising what's going on, actually setting up bunkers to protect the points. About damn time as well. And I think the Guards infantry really should just ignore the Panthers' rush for the victory points. Just rush ahead, ignore the Panthers, they can't do much anyways. And this could ultimately prove to be a bit of a mistake here from Apfelsaft. He's actually slowing down. And he's ultimately also giving Fanity time to bring up more forces to the front. In this case, another Panther, for example. Panthers actually taking a bit of damage here from all the anti-tank rifles just constantly firing away. But again, also the sheer amount of machine guns actually just stretch some of the Guards infantry, in particular the non-veteran one. Ultimately not looking good for Fanity. For Apfelsaft, he had victory in his grasp. But he let it slip. He let it slip through his fingers. And there we go, game over. A loss for the Soviet Union, a loss for the 30th Tank Corps. And again, it rather came down to, partly some of the egregious losses that, Apfelsaft suffered early on. That was a bit of, can always happen, but, also the fact he took so much ground, yet he never did anything to make it difficult for his opponent to take it back, which rather made it worthless. He didn't punish Fanity for his mistakes, which allowed Fanity to just continue onwards with his otherwise, slightly... it was actually a high-risk strategy, but there was absolutely no punishment for it. Nothing at all from Apfelsaft. And that was definitely a mistake. Again, mines are there to punish such behaviour. Had he mined properly, things would have looked a lot different. Fanity would have been losing a lot more units. His Panthers would have become easy targets. Another mistake was, going for this mechanized armor company and not going for the T-3045s. I definitely think that was a mistake. And I also think he might have utilized Mark Vehicle a bit better, but at least he used it. But the lack of mines really hurt him in the long run, and I think if he'd gone for that, he'd probably have won. Even if just for victory points, he would have won. I mean, Fanity really, pushed everything into a very small boat and, just went for it. It was really high risk. There were really a lot of things that could have gone wrong, and they were very close to going absolutely wrong and losing him the game. I mean, he lost a lot of infantry. He also had to save a lot of manpower, so he couldn't really reinforce or replace it a lot of the time. I mean, ultimately, again, his Panthers couldn't take ground, and they were also a bit limited against infantry, although, again, it rather helped that Apfelsaft seemed to have a bit of a thing against cover. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned a thing or two or three from it. If you did, want to subscribe, tell your friends. If you didn't, well, why not replay the video and provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.